Hello and welcome to Auspol Explained, your #1 stop on the internet to explain how Auspol works. I'm David, your long curly-haired host, and today let's talk about preferential voting. Australia uses preferential voting, which is a way of finding out which candidate has the most support. But how does it work? Let me give you a few examples to demonstrate. So, to win a seat in the House of Representatives and most Parliament lower houses in Australia, a candidate needs to have more than half of the vote. So let's imagine there's an election where there are only two candidates. Unless there's an exact tie, which does very rarely happen, then someone will get a majority. It's really easy. Now, let's use our superior Homo sapien brains to imagine something even the smartest crow can't. A three-way contest. For the sake of this imaginary three-way, let's say our candidates' names are Natalie, Dylan, and Alex. Now, it's entirely possible that a candidate could get a majority, but it's also possible that each candidate gets about a third of the vote each, and there's no clear winner. So, how do we fix this? In comes preferential voting. Voters will have ranked the candidates 1, 2, 3 in order of most favourite to least favourite. Let's imagine Natalie is your favourite. You want her on top of your list. So, you give her your first preference. You number her 1, followed by Alex 2, because if Natalie can't win, then at least you'd prefer it to be Alex instead of Dylan, who gets numbered last at 3. First preferences are counted and oh no! Only 20% of voters agree with you. Natalie can't win. Alex and Dylan both have 40% each. Neither is a majority, so who will win? Well, the least popular candidate is eliminated. Bang! Rest in peace, Natalie. All the votes for Natalie aren't wasted though, because the votes are transferred to the other candidates based off the second preferences of the voter. Well, you put Alex's too, so your vote is transferred to Alex. Dylan is last, so can't get your vote. Some voters naturally put Dylan second, so some of those votes go to her. Who wins depends on how those voters preference the remaining two candidates. So if most Natalie supporters put Alex second on their ballot, then most of those votes go to Alex and she wins instead of Dylan. That way, preferential voting takes into account the opinions of a majority of voters. We have collectively decided who is better. Now let's imagine something a bit bigger. Imagine a 5-way contest. Oh, so many people. Our candidates are now Scooby, Shaggy, Velma, Daphne, and Fred. Who's your favourite? For me, Velma 1. Daphne 2, Shaggy 3, Scooby 4, and Fred is at the bottom where he belongs, at 5. Don't at me. Despite Velma clearly being the right choice, the electorate is stupid, and the first preference count puts Velma at 17%, Daphne 12%, Shaggy 25%, Scooby 28%, and Fred 18%. Ugh. Daphne has the smallest vote, so is eliminated first and preferences distributed. Let's say Daphne voters all agree that Fred is the worst and he gets no boost in votes at all. All the preferences are split evenly between Velma, Shaggy and Scooby, so they each get an extra 4%. It's now Velma at 21%, Shaggy 29%, Scooby 32%, and Fred still at 18%. Ha! Loser. Still no winner though, so time to reassess who is the least popular candidate. Velma started off with fewer votes than Fred, but now she has more than him. Yay! She can remain in the count. Fred is eliminated, bang, as he deserves to be. Let's say preferences are evenly spread. Everyone else gets another 6% each. So once again, the vote is updated. Velma 27%, Shaggy 35%, and Scooby 38%. We still don't have a majority, but unfortunately my personal favourite Velma is now the least popular remaining. Sadly, she's eliminated. I'm disappointed, but I'll live, I guess. Well, my vote needs to go somewhere. I put Daphne second, but as she's already been eliminated, my vote is transferred to the next preference still standing, which is Shaggy. So, again, who wins now depends if more preferences go to Shaggy or Scooby. This way, voters can collectively decide as a majority who wins instead of splitting the vote. Your vote isn't wasted, even if the person you preferenced first doesn't win, because it can still be used to determine who the winner is. But your first preference still matters, because the higher the ranking they are up in the first preferences, the longer your candidate can be in the count, and the better chances they have of winning. Now, I think we've all got this, but let's make it really clear. Let's stretch the power of our brains to imagine one more scenario. Let's go back down to 3 candidates: Bubbles, Blossom, and Buttercup. Let's say Buttercup gets 52% of the vote, while Bubbles gets 23% and Blossom 25%. Well, we don't need to count preferences because Buttercup has won outright. She has more than half the vote. The remainder of the vote for Bubbles and Blossom seems pretty split. They're both really trying to compete with each other, but in this scenario it just wouldn't have mattered if Bubbles had dipped out of the race to begin with and 100% of her supporters had backed Blossom. Blossom can only get a maximum of 48% of the vote and couldn't have won anyway because Buttercup is just too powerful. Bubbles didn't stop Blossom from winning, Buttercup was just too popular. The only chance either of them had of winning was if they convinced enough people to not vote for Buttercup to drop her vote below 50%, and then it becomes a race between whoever is in the top 2 when it comes to preferences. But to be fair, a majority of seats in the House of Representatives are determined by preferences, so hopefully you understand the basics of how preferential voting works in different circumstances and how it applies. If you want my advice on how to best strategically fill out your ballot, it's simple. Put who you like the most first and go from there. Just fill out your ballot genuinely, that's it. You don't know how the margins are going to play out until it gets counted, so just express your preferences how you'd like to express them and be rest assured knowing that the outcome will be whoever has the most support. And there you have it. Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you've learned a few things. Don't forget to share, subscribe, and also comment down below who you think should win. Should it be Velma? Like, are you on my side or are you one of those dirty Fred fans? Let me know so we can fight about it. And thank you so much to my supporters on Patreon. If you'd like to support me on Patreon, you're allowed. It is legal. You legally are allowed to do so. There is a link in the description where you can do that. That's all from me. Thank you so much. I'll see you at the polls.